Millions in Syria and Iraq are facing water shortages as the region's longest river, the Euphrates, dries up.
It's silly, and it becomes more and more of a problem the more things get discovered.
The Euphrates River is one of the most significant waterways in the history of civilization, flowing through modern-day Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. Its significance dates back thousands of years, when it served as the lifeblood of ancient Mesopotamia, nourishing empires and supporting early agricultural societies. The river is often referenced in biblical texts, mythological stories, and historical accounts, underscoring its importance both in spiritual and practical terms. However, recent news from Joe Rogan's podcast, claiming that the Euphrates River has just dried up, has taken many by surprise, not just because of the environmental implications, but because of what has allegedly emerged from the riverbed. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. As Rogan explained, the river drying up isn't simply a result of modern-day climate change or geopolitical water mismanagement, though those factors have certainly contributed. What is truly astonishing, according to his statements, is what appeared once the waters receded. The river, which has for millennia been a critical source of life in the region, has now become a dry bed revealing relics, ruins, and even, as some suggest, remnants of a time long past that could change how we understand human history. For centuries, the Euphrates has served as a metaphor for the rise and fall of civilizations. As Rogan describes, the drying up of this ancient river is not merely a matter of local or regional concern. It is an event with potential global ramifications. The symbolic significance alone is enough to stir imaginations. From a religious perspective, the drying of the Euphrates has been linked to prophecies in various holy texts, including the Bible's Book of Revelation, where it is said to be a precursor to significant apocalyptic events. However, while some might see this event through a spiritual lens, the material realities of what emerged from the river's bed are causing just as much intrigue. According to Rogan's discussion, among the most shocking discoveries are ancient ruins that had long been submerged and forgotten. These ruins hint at civilizations even older than previously thought, potentially offering insights into early human settlements. Archaeologists are eager to explore these newfound treasures, but there are also whispers of even stranger findings. Some speculate that the river's drying has unearthed artifacts that defy current historical understanding, with Rogan hinting at the possibility of objects or structures that suggest knowledge or technology that does not fit into the accepted timeline of human development. Rogan's podcast often delves into topics that challenge mainstream narratives, and this story of the Euphrates drying up is no exception. He suggests that the riverbed may hold secrets that could rewrite our understanding of the ancient world. If there are indeed objects or structures that indicate advanced knowledge, such as architectural feats or symbols that align with unexplainable patterns, this could imply that early human societies were far more advanced than previously thought. Such a revelation would force historians and archaeologists to rethink their understanding of ancient history, possibly even leading to new theories about lost civilizations. Furthermore, Rogan also touches on the possibility that the river's drying might reveal religious or spiritual relics. The Euphrates has long been tied to biblical prophecy, and the idea that something of divine or supernatural significance could be found is enough to capture the imagination of millions. Rogan speculates that if religious artifacts or symbols were found, it could lead to a renewed interest in ancient prophecies and spiritual beliefs. Whether one subscribes to these beliefs or not, the cultural impact of such a discovery would be profound, leading to new discussions about faith, history, and the future of humanity. Beyond the ancient ruins and possible relics, the drying of the Euphrates also has practical implications for the modern world. The river has long been a source of water for millions of people in the region. Its absence means that communities relying on it for irrigation, drinking water, and transportation are now in dire straits. This environmental crisis is compounded by ongoing political tensions in the region, as countries like Iraq, Syria, and Turkey vie for control over dwindling water resources. Rogan highlights how this could lead to increased conflict, as nations struggle to secure what little water remains for their people. In a broader sense, the drying of the Euphrates is yet another example of how climate change is reshaping our planet. While the specific cause of the river's disappearance may involve a combination of natural and human-made factors, it serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of our ecosystem. water scarcity is becoming a pressing issue globally, and the Euphrates is just one of many rivers around the world that are suffering. As Rogan points out, if humanity doesn't take action to address these environmental challenges, we could face even more dire consequences in the future. However, the focus of Rogan's discussion remains on the mysterious and extraordinary implications of what has been found in the river's dried bed. He speculates that the discoveries could extend beyond ruins and artifacts. There are theories circulating online that suggest that the Euphrates may be hiding something even more startling. Something that could potentially alter our understanding of not just history, but reality itself. Some fringe theories posit that the river might have concealed evidence of extraterrestrial activity or technology, linking it to the ancient astronaut hypothesis, which suggests that early human civilizations may have been influenced or guided by beings from other worlds. While these theories are speculative at best, Rogan's platform allows for the exploration of such ideas. He invites experts and enthusiasts alike to weigh in on what the drying of the Euphrates could mean. And while some dismiss the more outlandish claims, others believe that this event is too significant to ignore. If nothing else, the drying of such an iconic and ancient river serves as a reminder that the Earth still holds many mysteries, and even in the 21st century, there are discoveries yet to be made that could shake the foundations of our understanding. On a cultural level, the drying of the Euphrates has already sparked conversations about the fate of ancient civilizations and the legacies they left behind. Many wonder whether the artifacts and ruins found in the riverbed could offer clues about how past societies dealt with environmental challenges. Did these civilizations experience a similar crisis? Were they forced to adapt to changing climates? And if so, what lessons can we learn from them? Rogan suggests that by studying these ancient relics, we might find answers to some of the modern world's most pressing questions. For many people, the story of the Euphrates drying up is a reminder of how interconnected we are with the environment. The river's disappearance has the potential to impact not just the people living near it, but the world as a whole. The ecological, political, and even spiritual implications are vast, and Rogan's discussion opens the door to a wide array of possibilities. Whether the drying of the Euphrates is a sign of the end times, as some believe, or simply a natural consequence of human actions and environmental change, it is clear that this event will be talked about for years to come. The mystery of what lies beneath the dried-up riverbed is still unfolding, and while there is much speculation, the truth remains elusive. Scientists, archaeologists, and historians are likely to study this phenomenon for decades, hoping to uncover the secrets hidden beneath the ancient waters. Whether they find evidence of advanced civilizations, religious relics, or something even more shocking, the drying of the Euphrates is already proving to be one of the most significant events of recent times. Rogan's revelation has sparked widespread curiosity and debate, as people from all walks of life weigh in on the implications of this discovery. Some are drawn to the spiritual and prophetic aspects of the story, while others are fascinated by the potential historical and scientific revelations. Regardless of one's perspective, it's clear that the drying of the Euphrates is more than just an environmental crisis. It is a moment of profound significance that could reshape how we view the past, present, and future. The drying of the Euphrates River, while already stirring significant intrigue with the revelations brought forth by Joe Rogan, holds even deeper implications when considering the broader socio-political, environmental, and cultural dimensions. As more details emerge, it's clear that this event is not only an isolated phenomenon, but is interconnected with global challenges and existential questions. The Euphrates, a river of immense historical and spiritual significance, has long been considered a crucial artery of civilization. Now, as it dries up, the world faces not only the loss of a critical water resource, but also an opportunity to delve into hidden mysteries, some of which may reshape our understanding of human history, geography, and even the climate. One of the immediate and pressing implications of the Euphrates drying up is the potential for large-scale displacement of populations. The river has been a source of sustenance for millions of people, and its drying represents a significant ecological disaster. Already, many communities that have depended on the river for centuries are facing unprecedented challenges. Farmers who rely on the Euphrates for irrigation are watching their crops wither, and villages that drew drinking water from it are now being forced to rely on less stable sources. This crisis could spark a new wave of migration, as people in the region are left with little choice but to seek out more habitable areas with reliable water supplies. The geopolitical consequences of this could be far-reaching. The Euphrates River runs through one of the most volatile regions in the world, with Iraq, Syria, and Turkey each playing a role in managing its flow. As the river diminishes, tensions are rising among these nations, each of which has its own political, economic, and social stakes in controlling what remains of the water. This competition for resources is not new, but the drying of the Euphrates may act as a catalyst, escalating already delicate relationships. Water politics in the Middle East has been a long-standing issue, with dams, water management projects, and disputes over access playing into broader conflicts. As Rogan alluded to, the potential for water-related conflict cannot be ignored, and the drying of the Euphrates could intensify existing disputes, possibly leading to a new wave of regional instability. However, beyond the immediate humanitarian and political concerns, the drying of the Euphrates invites deeper reflection on the environmental changes that are accelerating worldwide. The gradual decline of the river is a symptom of a larger environmental crisis. In the last century, human activities such as damming, water diversion, and over-extraction, combined with climate change, have severely impacted the natural water cycles in many regions. What is happening to the Euphrates is not unique. It is mirrored in other parts of the world where rivers and lakes are shrinking, glaciers are melting, and ecosystems are collapsing under the weight of human activity. Rogan's discussion of the Euphrates drying serves as a wake-up call that emphasizes how interconnected the environment is and how humanity's unsustainable practices are reshaping the planet in ways that could prove irreversible. Scientists are already studying the consequences of diminishing water resources globally, but what makes the Euphrates especially significant is the combination of its historical importance and the potential hidden knowledge it holds. As the riverbed becomes more exposed, what is being discovered beneath the surface is prompting as many questions as it is answers. One of the major points of intrigue discussed by Rogan is the potential for archaeological discoveries that could radically alter our understanding of ancient civilizations in the region. Already, early signs of ruins and artifacts are emerging, hinting at the existence of cultures that may have thrived in the area long before the rise of the Mesopotamian empires. These newly discovered ruins, uncovered by the receding water, could provide unprecedented insights into the early history of human civilization. The Euphrates region has long been considered one of the cradles of human development, where some of the earliest known cities and states were established. However, there is growing speculation that the artifacts being uncovered may point to civilizations even older and more advanced than previously thought. The possibility that these ruins could represent a society with knowledge or technologies that do not fit into the traditional timeline of human history is captivating researchers and enthusiasts alike. If these discoveries prove true, they could have profound implications for how we understand the origins of civilization. Conventional history places the development of complex societies in Mesopotamia around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. But if evidence is found that predates this by a significant margin, it could challenge long-held assumptions about the progression of human development. Such a discovery would not only reshape the history of the region, but also influence broader narratives about the rise of civilization worldwide. But what if the ruins are not just remnants of an ancient forgotten civilization? Rogan's podcast hinted at even more sensational possibilities. Speculation has arisen that some of the objects found beneath the Euphrates could be linked to the mythical and the supernatural. Some believe that these ruins may align with biblical prophecies, while others even suggest that they could offer evidence of extraterrestrial influences. The idea that ancient cultures may have been visited or influenced by beings from other planets has long been a topic of fascination and debate among theorists. The drying of the Euphrates could, in the minds of some, provide the physical evidence to support these theories. One of the more mysterious suggestions made by Rogan is the idea that the drying of the Euphrates could be connected to biblical prophecy, particularly the events described in the Book of Revelation. According to certain interpretations, the Euphrates drying up is a precursor to apocalyptic events, leading some to wonder whether the current situation is a sign of things to come. While such ideas are often met with skepticism, they continue to capture the imaginations of many, particularly those who see parallels between ancient texts and modern events. Whether one believes in these prophecies or not, the symbolic power of the Euphrates drying is undeniable. These speculative ideas, whether tied to extraterrestrial influence, religious prophecy, or advanced ancient civilizations, are difficult to substantiate, yet they offer a compelling narrative that fuels much of the interest surrounding the Euphrates drying. However, even without such sensationalist interpretations, the event itself is monumental enough to spark reflection on humanity's place in the world. The river's drying serves as a metaphor for larger ecological changes, signaling the fragility of human societies in the face of natural forces. The same river that once nurtured early civilizations is now in decline, and its disappearance could mark the end of an era. At the same time, the exposure of new ruins and artifacts provides hope that we might yet uncover new knowledge about our ancestors and their relationship with the environment. Perhaps these ancient societies encountered similar environmental challenges and left behind lessons for us to learn. In this way, the drying of the Euphrates could act as a bridge between the past and the present, offering clues about how early peoples managed or failed to manage their natural resources. This, in turn, could inform modern efforts to address the ecological crises that threaten our world today. The international community is also likely to take a keen interest in what is happening to the Euphrates. The drying of such a critical waterway has implications not just for the countries directly affected, but for the global understanding of water security and climate resilience. As Rogan discussed, there is a growing recognition that water scarcity will become one of the defining challenges of the 21st century. Many nations are already grappling with droughts, declining freshwater supplies, and increasingly unpredictable weather patterns. And the Euphrates' fate serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of even the most iconic rivers. Organizations like the United Nations and various environmental NGOs are monitoring the situation closely, as they recognize that the drying of the Euphrates could be a harbinger of things to come. Water is a finite resource, and as the planet's population continues to grow, managing this resource will become increasingly difficult. What happens in the Euphrates Basin today could serve as a model or a cautionary tale for other regions facing similar water shortages. The river's decline highlights the urgent need for global cooperation on water management and environmental sustainability. The loss of the Euphrates, though tragic, could also serve as a powerful reminder of the need to preserve our natural heritage. For centuries, the river has been a symbol of life and vitality, nurturing the development of some of the world's earliest civilizations. Now, as it fades, it reminds us of the fragility of life on Earth and the importance of caring for the planet's resources. If we fail to heed the warnings offered by the Euphrates drying, we may face similar fates with other vital ecosystems. As archaeologists, scientists, and historians continue to study the Euphrates and its secrets, the world watches with anticipation. What they discover could change not only our understanding of the past, but also inform our decisions for the future. In the end, the drying of the Euphrates is about more than just a river. It is about the intersection of history, environment, and human responsibility. Whether we learn from it or ignore its lessons will determine what kind of future we will create for ourselves and future generations. The story of the Euphrates is far from over, and what happens next could shape the course of history in ways we cannot yet predict. The drying of the Euphrates River represents not only a dramatic environmental shift, but also a profound historical and cultural moment that has sparked discussions across numerous fields. As the world grapples with the unfolding consequences of this event, the depth of its impact continues to reveal itself through the lens of geopolitics, environmental science, religious prophecy, and human history. The Euphrates is more than just a river. It is a symbol of civilization itself, and its drying forces us to reconsider many of the assumptions we've held about the world. One of the most critical aspects of the Euphrates drying is the role it plays in the region's geopolitics, and this extends far beyond simple water resource management. Historically, control over the Euphrates and its flow has been a significant strategic issue for the nations through which it passes: Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. For decades, these countries have jostled for dominance over this vital waterway, each constructing dams and irrigation projects to ensure their populations and economies have access to this precious resource. Turkey, in particular, has long been at the center of these disputes, with its construction of the massive Southeastern Anatolia project, GAP, which includes more than 22 dams and 19 hydroelectric power plants, significantly affecting the downstream flow of the Euphrates into Syria and Iraq. Now that the river is drying up, these tensions are escalating further. Syria and Iraq have been heavily dependent on the Euphrates for agriculture, drinking water, and energy generation, and the significant reduction in water flow is pushing them toward a crisis. Without a stable supply of water, food security is rapidly becoming a major concern. Crops are failing, livestock is suffering, and people are being forced to leave their homes in search of more hospitable environments. This large-scale displacement has the potential to further destabilize a region already plagued by conflict and war. And the drying of the Euphrates could lead to heightened regional tensions, with nations blaming one another for water mismanagement. This scenario is emblematic of a larger global trend, where climate change, environmental degradation, and resource scarcity are increasingly driving conflict. Water wars, long predicted by environmental scientists and policy experts, are becoming more of a reality as rivers dry up, aquifers are depleted, and rainfall patterns become more erratic. The drying of the Euphrates could serve as a precursor to future conflicts not only in the Middle East, but also in other parts of the world where water resources are being stressed to their limits. The diplomatic challenges this presents are immense, as countries must balance their own internal needs with the necessity of cooperating across borders to manage shared resources. In light of the Euphrates crisis, there is an increasing focus on the role of international organizations and treaties in managing transboundary water resources. The United Nations and other international bodies have long attempted to mediate disputes over water, but the effectiveness of these efforts has often been limited by the political complexities of the regions involved. In the case of the Euphrates, existing agreements between Turkey, Syria, and Iraq have been fragile at best, and the drying of the river is pushing the boundaries of what these treaties can handle. As the water crisis deepens, there is a growing call for more robust international frameworks to manage such situations, including stronger mechanisms for conflict resolution and resource sharing. Beyond geopolitics, the drying of the Euphrates is also having a profound effect on the region's ecology. The river has long been home to a wide array of plant and animal species, many of which are now facing extinction as their habitat disappears. The ecosystems that depend on the river are collapsing, with wetlands drying up and fish populations plummeting. This is not just a local problem, as the Euphrates plays a critical role in the larger environmental web of the region. Its disappearance could trigger a domino effect, with species loss leading to further ecological degradation, ultimately impacting human populations that rely on these ecosystems for their livelihoods. The Euphrates has always been a key artery for migratory birds, serving as a crucial stopover point on their long journeys. As the river dries, these birds are finding fewer places to rest and feed, and their numbers are dwindling. The loss of these bird populations will have cascading effects on the environment, as they play essential roles in pollination, seed dispersal, and insect control. This ecological collapse is compounded by human activities such as damming, overfishing, and pollution, which have already weakened the river's natural resilience. While the ecological impact is devastating, the cultural and spiritual significance of the Euphrates cannot be overstated. The river is steeped in myth and legend, and its drying has profound symbolic implications. For centuries, the Euphrates has been referenced in religious texts, including the Bible and the Quran, where it is often portrayed as a boundary between the known and the unknown, the physical and the spiritual. In the Bible's book of Revelation, the drying of the Euphrates is seen as a harbinger of the apocalypse, a sign that the end times are near. This interpretation, while esoteric, has gained renewed interest as people seek to find meaning in the unfolding events. This symbolic weight carries significant psychological and cultural ramifications. For many in the region, the Euphrates is more than just a water source. It is a living part of their identity and heritage. The river has nurtured countless generations, and its drying is seen by some as a profound loss, not just of a natural resource, but of a connection to the past. Communities that have lived along its banks for centuries are now facing the reality that their way of life may soon be gone, and this has led to a deep sense of mourning and anxiety about the future. However, the drying of the Euphrates also opens the door to an entirely new field of discovery. As the river recedes, archaeologists are being presented with a unique opportunity to explore parts of the riverbed that have been submerged for millennia. Already, there have been discoveries of ancient ruins, artifacts, and even entire settlements that were previously hidden beneath the waters. These finds are offering new insights into the early civilizations that once flourished along the Euphrates and could potentially rewrite parts of human history. The Euphrates has been central to the development of some of the world's earliest known civilizations, including Sumer, Akkad, Babylon, and Assyria. These ancient cultures left behind vast legacies of art, architecture, writing, and science, much of which has shaped the course of human history. Now, with the riverbed exposed, archaeologists are hoping to uncover new evidence that could fill in the gaps in our understanding of these early societies. The discoveries being made are not just about ancient artifacts, but about the way these civilizations interacted with their environment, how they managed water resources, and what ultimately led to their decline. One of the most exciting aspects of these archaeological discoveries is the potential to learn more about the technological advancements of these ancient peoples. The Euphrates Basin was a hotbed of innovation, particularly in the realms of agriculture and urban planning. The early inhabitants of the region developed complex irrigation systems, sophisticated building techniques, and early forms of writing and governance. As new ruins are uncovered, there is hope that these discoveries will shed light on how these early technologies evolved and how they influenced the development of later civilizations across the Middle East and beyond. In particular, researchers are keen to learn more about the relationship between these ancient civilizations and their environment. The drying of the Euphrates is not an entirely new phenomenon. Historical records indicate that the river has fluctuated in size over the millennia, sometimes shrinking dramatically during periods of drought. By studying the ruins and artifacts being uncovered, archaeologists may be able to determine how these early peoples responded to similar environmental challenges. Did they adapt to the changing conditions? Or did the drying of the river play a role in the collapse of these early civilizations? Understanding how ancient societies dealt with environmental stressors could provide valuable lessons for today's world, where water scarcity and climate change are becoming ever more pressing concerns. As archaeologists and historians continue to study these newly uncovered ruins, they are also encountering evidence of ancient religious practices and beliefs. The Euphrates has long been associated with the sacred, and many of the artifacts being discovered suggest that the river played a central role in the spiritual lives of the people who lived along its banks. Temples, altars, and other religious structures are emerging from the riverbed, offering new insights into the spiritual beliefs of these ancient cultures. These discoveries are particularly significant because they could help us understand how these societies conceptualized their relationship with the natural world and the divine. For instance, some of the artifacts being uncovered suggest that the people who lived along the Euphrates saw the river as a living entity, a manifestation of the divine that needed to be respected and appeased. This belief system may have influenced the way these early peoples managed the river's resources, and it raises interesting questions about how spiritual beliefs can shape environmental stewardship. In a world where the environment is increasingly under threat, these ancient practices could offer a different perspective on how humans can live in harmony with nature. While the archaeological discoveries are capturing much of the public's attention, there is another dimension to the drying of the Euphrates that has not been as widely discussed: its impact on the region's contemporary culture. For many artists, writers, and musicians, the Euphrates has been a source of inspiration for centuries. Its majestic flow and historical significance have been woven into the fabric of the region's cultural output, from epic poems and religious hymns to modern-day music and literature. As the river dries, this cultural wellspring is being threatened, and many artists are grappling with what this means for their work. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, What's your reaction to the Euphrates River drying up? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.